Well, you won't find this gift under the tree, but my guests are both grateful to have participated in an organ donation program which led to a transplant, life-saving. And it's just great to have both of you here. Let me introduce first Blair Kitchen, an animator and a teacher at both Sheridan and Seneca colleges.
Yeah.
Freelance as well.
Yeah.
What fun. I mean, these are renowned places to get good animators. Disney likes to come around here, don't they?
Yeah, right.
I know about you guys. And specifically a comic artist.
Yeah, as well, so
That's,
a cartoonist. Yeah.
it's meaningful for a guy who's had a tough road, and we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
And the hero of the day, Josev Biggar, welcome. You guys both attend St. George's Anglican.
Yes.
Right here in the Crossroads Center until your new digs are ready.
Yeah.
We've had your pastor here recently,
Yes.
Ray David Glenn.
Yep.
Tell us where this started. I think we need a health report from you first.
Yeah, well,
Blair.
for me it started about 11 years ago when I found out that I had Crohn's and PSC, which is primary sclerosing cholangitis, which is a liver disease. So through that, I mean, it was a long 11 years dealing with different health problems and stuff like that.
It's
so
a nasty one.
yeah.
When did you become aware of this crisis, Josev?
Well, I moved to Ontario about 9 years ago, and I joined St. George's, and Blair was attending there, and they had just joined and had started attending a small group that I joined as well. So then I learned about his illness then, and then a few years later he was told he might need a transplant, and so we talked about, or I was thinking in the back of my mind that, oh, maybe I could do that, but it was kind of like, back burner, kind of, I didn't ever tell him or anything.
Is that the normal kind of thought you have when you see a person in that kind of need?
Well, I mean, I tend to, what I do is I ask Jesus to present opportunities for me to serve others, to love and serve others. So, it seemed like maybe it was an opportunity that I could step out. So.
It's so sacrificial. Now, you were in the same small group
Yeah, we were, yeah.
at your church.
Yeah.
And so you had some connection, but
Yeah, and we became friends through that as well. Good friends.
very special. How critical was this for you, Blair?
For me,
Doctors-
well, it was inevitable. It was PSC is a degenerative disease, so eventually it's just going to get worse and worse. So over the 11 years, it slowly became progressively worse, and so the great thing is with Joe stepping forward to be a donor. I was on the transplant list for a little over a year, but the great thing is with Joe stepping forward to be a donor, it allowed me to not get as sick as I could have waited longer. Yeah.
How did you feel when Josev came forward and said, "I'd like to give you some of my liver"?
Oh, it's humbling. It's hard enough for any man to accept something from someone, charity or whatever, but it was a very, very humbling experience, and yeah, it was just, it kind of reminds you, or reminded me of what Jesus did for us. Self-sacrifice, and it's something that you can never repay back. So
It is literally becoming a living sacrifice.
Yeah.
Did you have some trepidation about this? Did you know what was involved?
Well, I mean, the doctors were very clear on what sort of was involved, and I didn't have too much fear over it. I was, a little nervous, like on the day going in, just jitters kind of thing. But the long-term effects were fairly minimal. So, I don't have a gallbladder anymore. I have a big scar. But other than that, it didn't seem to really affect my life too much. So I wasn't too worried.
We have some photos of the moments that you will always remember. Here you are in the hospital. Now, you had to go in first, Josev, 2 hours ahead of Blair, right?
Yeah.
You look like a couple of happy guys. The church came around you.
We're
Ray
on a lot of
David came and
morphine
prayed for you. Now, who's this?
that's my wife and Joe.
Now, Joe, you're single.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you didn't have to kind of have this vetted through, I'm sure your friends had something to say about it. What's this moment?
That must be like the day after. I think for both of those, that was the day after surgery. So my wife again, we're.
Now, this would all be just a sweet story if it didn't have a nasty wrinkle in it. What happened?
Well, you find that nothing tends to work out. Well, the way God works is nothing. It's not the way we would have it have it work all the time. But yeah, 3 weeks after the transplant with Joe, there were some complications. I went in for a checkup, and I was having trouble breathing. And I guess what had happened is that the main artery that supplies blood to the liver stopped working, and so essentially the liver was dying. It wasn't getting any oxygen. So I ended up. They kept me in the hospital for a few days and determined that I had to redo the transplant with another
Donor.
Another donor, yes, which is you're never guaranteed a donor quickly. So it was interesting.
Just to cut to the chase,
Yeah.
that was established. You found another match.
Yes,
You-
very quickly, which by the grace of God, I think it's was a day and a half before they had another liver.
But I guess I have to ask both of you, and especially Joseph.
Yeah.
Lord, am I hearing plugged up, or what was this all about?
Yeah.
That's a lot to go through
Yeah, I mean, at first when I heard it, I was a little disappointed. I was kind of rooting for my.
for my liver.
Yeah. But you know, I just trusted God, and that this was, you know, like all things work to His purposes, as Romans 8:28 says.
So there's no regret, no resentment, no
No, not at all. No,
second guessing.
no, just trusting God, and sometimes, you know, we never know why things happen the way they did, but you know, just trusting God that.
One of the things that's interesting to me is that you felt a prompting to help your friend. How rare is it that you would find a match? I mean, it's great to have the idea, I'd like to give this gift, but doesn't always fit.
Well, I don't know how rare it is or not, but I do know that the medical criteria for transplant is not great. It's or not very big. It's basically you just need the same size of the liver and the same blood type.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But there's all the other factors with, you know, the donor being healthy enough and whether he or she can support themselves, like, you know, so there's a lot of other factors involved too.
What's this done for your friendship?
Well,
All right, we got buds here.
no, it's I don't know if it's. I mean, we've been good friends, and I think Joe's a humble guy, and I don't know if it's good. I mean, it's. Yeah, I don't think it changed things too much because we had a good friendship before.
Obviously.
I don't know. We'll see if he gets me washing his car or something this summer or whatever. But I won't
Only
be
if
able
you're
to say no.
healthy.
Yeah.
And Blair,
But,
just
yeah.
lastly, how are you now?
I'm doing good. So I'm at the moment. I think I'm 6 weeks after the second transplant. So I still
6 weeks
yeah.
ago.
It's been 6 weeks.
Wow.
So I still have a bit to go, but things are going really well. And just to touch on before what with you know, thinking if what Joe did for me was for nothing or not, it definitely wasn't, because it really opened up the door for this second transplant, and without Joe, I'd probably still be sick right now. So.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
wonderful example to us all at the right time of year. Not the gift we'd normally be thinking of giving to anyone, but we love to remind our viewers about the importance of organ donation. Will you talk about it as a family? Will you give it some thought in this season of giving? We need a whole lot more stories like this. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful Christmas.
You too. Thanks a lot.